Hey guys, this is P.M.R.Bonez88, and this has been so long time, and I want to make this up to you guys. So since today is like June and it's partially almost summer, so today for my next horror slasher movie review, which I'm going to do, which is right behind you, and Seed of Chucky. So the fifth and possibly the least of my favorite of the Child's Play franchises, and this movie came out in theaters in the early to mid October of 2004. And let's not forget, it was probably the last time it was going to be in theaters.
Well, let's see. Ridiculously, yes. However, maybe this movie wasn't a bad sequel. Just technically just a minor standard movie that was literally underrated. Trying to think of it, I don't even know what was the idea. I thought when I saw the trailer of it, it wouldn't be dark and scary. But then as for the movie itself, it turned out to be a comical horror film. It only was only Chucky in it, and Tiffany too. And only that their son named Shitface.
So eventually, due to the critics and possibly maybe some fans thought maybe this was kind of a big disappointment or a letdown, possibly it wasn't too bad of a sequel. But for Seed of Chucky, I think it was starting to turn down to become a comedy slash horror film. So it's possibly much more of a comedy and less of a horror film. So I kind of really think of it that it turned out to be a sitcom. The only had was with Chucky.
The courts thought so.
But surprisingly, the ones that returned were Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly, that voicing of Chucky and Tiffany. So at least that was a good thing, because who was going to replace Brad Dourif as Chucky?
Mark Hamill is voicing Chucky from this remake. You noticed that, right?
You just had to say it, did you? You just had to say it. Yes, yes. There is going to be a remake of the Child's Play. That me and Arena will see it. But even so, I owe her a dinner. That was the promise.
Once you make that promise, it is sealed.
Please cut. Cut. So director Don Mancini, who's also the creator of throughout the Child's Play franchises, he directed this film. And actually, at first, when I saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be darker and maybe Chucky was going to be reborn. Maybe that's what it was, or maybe that in the end they took up the previous and Bride of Chucky, and we were going to see his son probably maybe take over his killing spree. Who knows? That was going to be the story plot of it. And even when I saw the trailer, it looked pretty darker. It looked very scary. But seeing the movie itself, it was different. I wasn't complaining about it, but as of seeing today, it's started to make me feel that this movie is... I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm not saying it's ridiculously... redundant... How should I say? What's the word? Redunculously? Yeah, I have to agree. Redunculous. But it's not really an overrated franchise, but absolutely maybe there were a few puns that there was so much that I think they took it way too far. And plus that they took some elements of one of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchises. Because I know there were some elements there that I think they took it from between The Dream Child and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and they combined it, and that's how Seed of Chucky was. A bit of Nightmare on Elm Street wise thing. I love Freddy, so don't worry.
However, okay, there are a few things I liked about this film. And there are probably some scenes I didn't like about it. But more importantly, the only thing I liked about Seed of Chucky were the kills. That was the only thing I liked about this movie. It was all about the kills. But personally, I think who did most of the killing were both, I think it was just only Tiffany. She did most of the body count. And Chucky, he did only what? Minimum body count? That's all he did.
There were some couple of guest stars that were in this film, and I was probably made me shocked to at least recognize them. But mostly I know were just Jennifer Tilly and the rapper Redman. Oh, and also the actor that did the voice of Glenn and Glenda, but his real name is Shitface, was Billy Boyd, and he's also the star that he played one of the hobbits from Lord of the Rings. And I was like, wait, Billy Boyd, like Pippin, in a Child's Play sequel? Oh my god, my mind was just blown. So this movie begins with promisingly the aftermath of Bride of Chucky when their child was finally born, and then we see is the doll and we think it's Chucky, but possibly we don't know who that doll is. Could it be Chucky doing all the killing spree? And how the hell he wind up in London? But basically throughout the kills it was all just a dream, a very, very wet dream. So yes, we get to introduce was Shitface and how he was different from the previous of Bride of Chucky, because in the previous at the end that baby was demonic and scary, but to now it looks like he was on drugs. I swear, I think he took too much of a shooting of LSD.
Now I can see why his name is Shitface. Because he is Shitface! Honestly, why?
So yes, so somehow he wind up being in London, so that left me clueless. How the hell did he wind up in London in the first place?
And since when did he have a British accent?
Because wasn't he attacking the detective at the end of Bride of Chucky? So there's a big gap right there. How did he wind up in London? What happened? And then we get to see another shooting, which a Christmas happening, and where Chucky and Tiffany were going to kill the so-called fake Santa Claus, but then yet it was just the making of the film. So Chucky and Tiffany weren't really alive. They were just animatronics, and they were making some sort of a movie of Chucky going wild, crazy, the movie title. So basically that's how it was going to happen, that Chucky and Tiffany were dead, but they were just using the doll like animatronics. And by there we get to introduce was Jennifer Tilly playing as Jennifer Tilly. Yeah, so basically Jennifer Tilly is playing herself and voicing Tiffany. Ain't that some shit?
So the show was called Shitface and Sykes. So technically, he was like what's supposed to be a stand-up puppet for him, and lately, yeah, he's been pissing his pants. He has an eye twitch for some odd reason, made for every time his parents go on a killing spree. And yet he has I think he has a sexual transgending problem issue-wise. Sometimes he feels like a boy, sometimes he feels like a girl.
In which that Shitface finally found his parents, and now he gets away from his owner, or his master, whatever he was, gets away, and then he goes to Los Angeles to meet up his family. He picked up the amulet, in which, I don't know how he wound up getting the amulet. I don't know how he got it from. It's weird. So he was finally reunited with his family, and probably they didn't know who he was until he introduced to them.
Who the hell are you?
Shitface.
Yeah, Chucky was laughing, and Tiffany didn't really like the name. In which now they were alive, they do what they usually do best, going on a killing spree. Chucky and Tiffany were finally happy, kissing and making out, and while they were doing that, he ruined the mood by pissing his pants. Chucky and Tiffany were very confused and they weren't too sure whether he was a boy or he was a girl. Okay, seriously, he's a doll. Chucky, you're a doll. Tiffany, you're a doll. So either way, I don't know if he is a boy or a girl now. Now that they mention it, can he be a he or a she?
Both? I don't know if that's possible.
So instead of calling him Shitface, Chucky named him Glenn, but then Tiffany wanted to name him Glenda. Him. Her. Damn, I'm confused! So they hitch a ride on Jennifer's limo. By there, they go into her home and they were up in the attic. So Glenn asking them why did they kill people. Chucky and Tiffany didn't know how to answer that question, but however, how Chucky said, it was a hobby and it's just to help them relax. Actually, that's kind of true. Yeah, both Chucky and Tiffany did promise that, but you know how Chucky is. Never trust him. Because he will go behind your back. Now, I'm not really going to tell too much of this plot, but I'll probably skip a few things. So their plan is to pregnant Jennifer Tilly, and the only way to do that is to, well, Chucky has to masturbate. How does a doll masturbate? And how the hell... Oh, God. Chucky is a doll. But then in Bride of Chucky, how did... See, this is what happens when movies don't make sense. Especially with sequels like so. I honestly... Did they really... Didn't come... Great, I don't know what to say. Because honestly, why would they think that? I mean, why would the F&H mighty groany as fuck would they even try to do that? Like seriously, why?
Yeah, he masturbates. He jacks off. A lot of these porn magazines he's been watching lately, I don't know how does he wind up having Chucky having a dick? Okay, this is really starting to make my head spin and give me such a headache. Oh God, and it comes again. Oh no. Excuse me, folks. I gotta find a title. Where is it?
So that was their plan, and also that Tiffany was going to be in Jennifer's body, and Chucky was going to be in Redman's body. Probably, yeah, that was their plan. But however, as always, Chucky was going to kill someone, the paparazzi guy, but which he didn't do anything. Chucky just stand there, and Glenn was trying to stop him, but somehow the paparazzi just fell, and the acid just fell right in his head. Honestly, I just love the practical effects. They were very amazing. No CGI required. Maybe a little bit of CGI when his face got burned. The rest, nada.
Actually, Bones, there were some CGIs that were required.
Okay, maybe there were some CGIs, I'm not sure, but dude, come on!
Hey, just pulling up the facts, okay? Don't get all too hasty on me.
As I was saying, the practical effects were amazing. The animatronics, the puppeteering, they were also amazing. So they were very amazing. They didn't have to use CGI. Can you imagine if they made Chucky and Tiffany in CGI? I mean, I don't know what the designs would have been. I would never see them as CGI. Because nowadays, in movies that we see mostly are CGI, green screen, or blue screens. Some are very good and practically amazing, but sometimes some of them are probably very crappy or not really unfinished. But Seed of Chucky didn't really need any CGI. Just puppeteering and practical effects, and that's how Child's Play franchise should work. So, however, Jennifer was like so pregnant, she wasn't even up to like 6 months. I think they just skipped throughout the whole months, and possibly, I don't know what kind of juice were they that Chucky had, but that was some powerful juice, because she got pregnant just like that. In which now that Chucky tied her up and he was about to do something very naughty, and I don't know what this is, but Chucky is starting to become a creepo. What's the what? I am very discernment. I don't know what he's doing. And Chucky and Tiffany, they started arguing, complaining that Chucky wanted a boy, Tiffany wanted a girl. It was back and forth, and Glenn couldn't take it anymore. It was driving him nuts. He was going a little insane, but I don't blame the kid. So he wanted to make a choice that he wanted to be a boy, but he wanted to be a girl. But more importantly, he did not want to be a killer. That was the only thing he agreed on. Not to be a killer, which kind of upset Chucky, but Chucky just had to let it all out, just saying he was not ashamed to be a killer. And once he saw the body of Redman, he realized he wasn't the only one who broke the promise. So did Tiffany. You can't trust either Chucky or Tiffany. Damn, these two are really big liars. Now, once Chucky was about to do the chant and trying to transfer his body to the limousine driver, and Tiffany will have the body of Jennifer Tilly once again. But however, for Glenn, or should I say Glenda, she needs to make a choice of either being the boy or the girl. But then the cops started to show up, and then everyone was going crazy, and Chucky couldn't even stand it. The baby crying, Tilly screaming, Tiffany yelling at him. So up at that point, Chucky just snapped.
Everybody, shut up!
He couldn't take no more. Throughout the years, he wanted to have a body of his own, and he was honestly just done. This was like the first time I ever heard Chucky ever said that he was done. He didn't want to have a human body at all. But he left out one famous speech that was so epic, so amazing, and it was hands down to the killer doll of all time.
I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it!
Respect, dude. And in which that kind of upset Tiffany, and that led to Tiffany leaving Chucky and taking the kid, but in which Chucky could not allow that. He was up to the urge of killing her, but however, the limousine driver just stayed there, and then Tiffany just picked up the knife and just threw it right back at him. But almost up to the very ending, Tiffany drugs her and was about to do the body switch, in which of course, Chucky just runs in, just acts the door, and he was gonna do the biggest line ever from The Shining.
I can't think of a thing to say.
And he just said, fuck it. That was just so hilarious. I thought he was gonna say, here's Chucky, or here's...
Shut up!
Okay, sorry. So by there, when Tiffany was about to do the chant, somehow Chucky just kills Tiffany, and by there, which that got Glenn very upset and was about to kick Chucky's ass, karate style. I don't know if I should laugh about it or should I be rooting for this kid. But by there, Glenn just like axed him, and he just cut him into itty bitty little pieces, in which that he lost both of his parents, and I felt sorry for him because now he had no mom, no dad. So, however, Jennifer decided to take care of him, in which possibly fast forward to 5 years later, Jennifer was so happy, and now she has the kids, and which now brings out of a big twist. I guess Tiffany did transfer her soul into Jennifer Tilly's body, so it looks like it did work. In which somehow, how? Because there was no way how did that work? It didn't make sense. Alright, but Blank made his choice, so he transferred his soul into the boy's body. So now he's now a human boy. So it looks like it was like kind of an element of Pinocchio, and I think it was like some sort of an element of Pinocchio that they took that Glenn really wanted to be a real-life human boy. Or a human girl. I don't know. But at the end, Glenn got a present, and guess who? He got the arm of his father, Chucky. So that was the end. After done talking about this film, this movie is funny, it's not really scary, but personally, I felt that this was not really a great Child's Play sequel, but just to at least watch and enjoy, as I always say.
Seed of Chucky is my least favorite as well. For myself particularly, I think maybe this movie can deserve a second chance, maybe just to watch it. Hell, I could just watch it all the time, and it still makes me laugh. And it may not be scary at times, but however, from the elements that they lost the horror, the elements of the slashing theoretically, I think probably they just have lost their touch of horror. And even so, that Seed of Chucky might be the weakest sequel, might be the weakest out of all the Child's Play franchises, but at least it has some memorables and unmemorable, just to at least remember what Seed of Chucky really was.
However, Seed of Chucky is a underrated sitcom horror film, maybe just to watch it, at least to laugh a few times and maybe to enjoy. It may have been the last movie to be come in theaters and it didn't do so well at the box office, but honestly, I think it was just still worth watching it. I would give it a try once more, just to at least watch and enjoy, but either way, it's still my least, and somehow with all the punses that Chucky made so much, it's starting to become a letdown right there. But either way, at least Brad Dourif did return, including the biggest high iconic laugh that he always does. That will never get old. I feel a little disappointed, but there is going to be a series of the Child's Play, and Brad Dourif is in it. That I am looking forward to see. So just to rate this film, for Seed of Chucky, I have to give this a 5.2 out of 10, which equals to a 52%. So the grade will have to be a D-.
Well, for my rating, I will have to give, personally, I was going to give it a lower rating, but then with the kills and Chucky using the lines, especially the biggest speech that he just made, I'll personally have to boost it up, maybe just a few points up. So for my rating, I have to give this about a 5.4 out of 10, which equals to a 54%. So the grade will probably have to be a C-.
Seed of Chucky may not be the best sequel, but at least is kind of worth watching, and it's kind of in between of an underrated and an overrated film, a sequel to at least to be exact. And personally, I think this could have been like a Saturday Night Live show with Chucky and Tiffany in it. And however, Chucky was not starting to become scary anymore. And plus that, they lost the element of horror, the elements of the scary moments of how Chucky was supposed to be. I think personally, maybe that's what happened after with the Child's Play trilogy. I know they were trying to get to a Child's Play trilogy, but I think maybe Seed of Chucky would have just be left gone, and maybe having Curse or Cult to be as the trilogy, plus with Bride as well. Because at least now the other two, Curse and Cult, at least they brought back the darker and the element of horror of what Chucky was supposed to be. Maybe just giving Seed of Chucky just a chance, and maybe just my only movie just to watch sometimes once in a blue moon. And yeah, I have this movie on Blu-ray and DVD. So this is P.M.R.Bonez88 signing off. The saying is, Bruce!
Who the hell are you?
Shitface.
Chucky. Where art thou, Chucky? Makes you say this. This sequel may not be an abomination, but it ain't anatomically correct. Try to get that one.